This is Goku-san, DBZ, and welcome back to Video Game News. I was out today, which is why you see me a little bit more dressed up than usual. But with that said, this is, of course, Video Game News. First up, quickly, let's get out of the way some of the movie information and then get to the gaming stuff, shall we? And of course, this is the last Video Game News of 2019. First up, for the weekend, coming in at 5th place is a new film called Spies in Disguise, making an estimated 13.2 million. So not too bad. With a 38 million global box office for its opening. Frozen 2 made an additional domestically an additional 16.5 million, not bad. Plus it was up 27.1% from last weekend. So Frozen 2 has actually made more money this past weekend than the weekend prior, which is interesting, up 27%. Total now worldwide, this brings Frozen 2's total box office now to $1,217,000,000. So it's now within about 16 million range of the first Frozen film. So it looks like it's going to end up making right around the same amount as the first film, which is not bad. I mean, given it's now crossed the 1.2 billion mark. So congratulations, Frozen 2. Coming in 3rd place for its opening weekend, this film did 16,755,000. It's a new take on the classic book Little Women. I'm not sure how many versions of this now has been done, but this one has a pretty decent lineup cast from what I've seen. Worldwide, it did an estimated 35.5 million. Not too bad. Next up, in 2nd place, we have the new Jumanji film. Brought in an additional 35.3 million. Now, just like Frozen 2, strangely enough, Jumanji did more money this past weekend than the previous, which I find interesting. Jumanji brought in, was 33.2% up from the previous weekend. So that's almost unheard of box office and stuff. Two films that both had more money this previous weekend than the weekend prior. It's interesting. Worldwide, this brings Jumanji's box office now up to $471,466. Pretty good. So, yeah, it's definitely gone to make over 500 million, but I don't think this Jumanji is still going to make as much as the previous one. I can see, given it's at that, it's probably going to make at least 600 million. Whether or not it makes it to 700, I'm not sure, but it's definitely not going to make the 960 million the previous film did. Coming in first, of course, for its second weekend is Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, bringing in additional $72 million. Now, that is down 59.4% from the previous weekend. But to be fair, usually 50-55% is usually the average drop-off for secondary weekend. 60%, a bit higher. That's not great, but still, 72 additional millions, not bad. Globally, though, now, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker is now made $724,796,000. So it's definitely done pretty well. I just want to quickly bring up Cats. Cats was number 4 in its opening weekend last weekend. This weekend it came in 8th place, so it dropped quite a few spots, needless to say. It did the second weekend. It made an additional 4.8 million. Yeah. Under 5 million second weekend, that's pretty bad. It's down, though, only 27%. Now, to be fair, it's not a bad drop-off, but given how badly it did opening weekend and then only making another 4.8 million, Total now, worldwide, this brings its box office numbers to 38.4 million. Which is not good when you think the film was made for an estimated $95 million. Plus, add in an additional probably $20 to $25 million in marketing. So, rounded off, the actual cost of Cats was probably about $120 million. And it so far has made not even $40 million in 10 days in release. That's pretty bad. And given on average, the usually the movie theater company usually gets about 70% cut of the revenue, and about 30% on average, 25-30% usually goes to the theater chain, which airs or plays the film. That's something a lot of people don't realize. They immediately assume 100% of all money goes straight to movie company. That's not the case the majority of the time. Usually about 70% or so goes to theater, and then to the company, and then 30% is usually kept by the actual ones who play the film. So that's something you have to take into account. Usually a quarter to a third of the money actually goes to the theater chain, because how else are they supposed to be able to be in business, keep in mind. Though still, the theater company on average keeps about 70% of the revenue. That's not too bad. Now, with that out of the way, quickly want to bring this up, get this over and done with. Once again, we see in controversy in gaming news. I guess it shouldn't really be too much of a surprise. Fallout 76 is in negative publishing or gaming news again. Boy, Todd must not be happy at all, or Bethesda. I mean, it's bad enough now if you want to be able to use private servers and stuff, you have to pay $100 a year for that, and for updates, because there's no such thing as a free update in Fallout 76, though. I think you should offer free updates to the people who have actually been crazy enough to stick around a full year and support your game. It's ridiculous. I mean, heck, EA has already swept Anthem under the rug. But Bethesda's still going at it with Fallout 76. Because we are now over about a good, 13, 14 months now since its launch. So needless to say, it's not going too well at all. But, yeah, it's been pretty bad for them. Specifically, though, this issue is only for PC players of Fallout 76. So, console players, you're safe. At least for now. What happened is a bunch of hackers took advantage of public servers on the PC version of 76, and basically from a certain distance in the game was able to access people playing the game and stuff on public servers, able to access like their inventory. So yeah, inventory stealing, hacking is what's going on. People are hacking in from a certain distance away in the game and able to hack somehow a person's inventory and steal all that inventory. That's total crap. I don't know why douchebags and stuff bother a hack in the first place. Personally, I think hackers need to go to prison and be penalized big time. They should have to face for those crimes. Which I'm glad at least places like Japan have stricter laws on that kind of stuff. If only the US was stricter on those issues. But needless to say, yeah. Now, right now, they're trying to figure out how to bump up security measures and stuff for public servers. And of course, you can bet if Bethesda is going to use this also as somewhat as a way to say, see, this is what happens when you use public servers. See, pay your $100 a year like a good little sheep, and you'll be completely safe in private servers, or so we know of. Anyways, you're safe in private servers. Who's to say even they're really that safe in the end of the day? But it's clear, PC-wise, they don't really care about safety as much as, obviously, console companies. Now, also quickly, I'm just going to do a quick little rundown of a couple of some releases, and I may mention more releases next week, in next week's edition of Gaming News. But this is a paper with some up-to-date information on video game release dates of some games and stuff coming out. It pays at least to know one of the store managers at GameStop, which will immediately, anytime I go in, stuff will immediately print me out a sheet of all upcoming stuff. But some of the basic stuff we have coming out. January the 7th, Terminator Resistance, so I've heard, for the most part, not the greatest reviews so far, coming out for PS4 and Xbox One. I'm only going to mention games right now that are coming out in January. Next week, I'll mention releases for February. And then the week after that, for March. So, as a little additional sort of info for video game news highlights, I guess you could say, coming out January 17th, we have Dragon Ball Kakarot, which is being released on PS4 and Xbox One. Then we have a game I have pre-ordered, which comes out January 17th, Tokyo Mirage Session. Hashtag FE Encore. That's quite a title. Coming out for the Nintendo Switch only. And if you're curious, the game is made by the same people who have made the Persona series, which is what got me to check out the game and pre-order it. So I'll be curious to check out the game once Tokyo Mirage Session comes out. You might want to look at it as well. It looks like a really fun RPG. Coming out January the 21st, Mega Man Zero / ZX Legacy Collection, which is being released on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. So all. Coming out January the 23rd is technically just DLC. Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC, exclusively PS4. Xbox One will not be getting the DLC package until like a month later, which is weird. Unless somehow they got some sort of deal worked out with Sony on that. Coming out January the 28th, Journey to the Savage Planet, coming out for PS4 and Xbox One. Don't know anything about it. Also, Pillars of Eternity 2, Dead Fire, coming out for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. And then we got 3 more things coming out on the 31st of January. Monstrum or something like that. I don't know anything about the game. Coming out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch. Then we have Shooting Stars. We have 2 versions. It's a Switch exclusive. One is called Alpha Limited Edition, and the other is called Bravo Limited Edition. Alrighty then. But, as I said, next week I'll mention February. January is pretty light. On the other hand, February has probably about 2 to 3 times as many releases. So it's going to be definitely heavy, needless to say, for January. There's definitely a lot of titles coming out the 11th, and it looks like a lot coming out the 18th of February. So anyway, stay tuned for the next edition of Video Game News, and I'll see y'all next time, and happy 2020.